Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of How Did We Get Here? I'm your host, Jay Carter, and the man that is always heard and never ever will be seen, Skeens, a.k.a. the background killer,
that'd be me,
a.k.a. the Wizard of Oz, a.k.a. Osama Ware, a.k.a. present but not accounted for, a.k.a. coming to a theater near you, but you'll never see it. Better Than Your Average is the channel and the movement. How Do We Get Here is the show. We got two cousins that are like brothers, talking any and everything in the process. How did we get here? Thank you for rocking with us. Here's an applause for all of you guys out there. Welcome back to another wonderful episode. Want to send out love, peace, and blessings to you and yours. Pray that you all are healed, healthy, blessed, and prosperous. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Skeens and I wanted to come to y'all and have a discussion about, I thought it was really key, really cool little, I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but let's talk the Kanye West documentary. Documentary. I don't know what I said, but anyway, Jeen-Yuhs. I watched episode 1 and 2. I know you watched episode 1.
I got 2.
You did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I thought it was me and wifey actually looked at the first episode while we were enjoying our 10th wedding anniversary a couple weekends ago. Shout out to us. 10 years in the game, baby. Coming up on 20 years together in November. But while we was out cooling out in Dallas, man, we had a chance to sit down and watch it. And it's funny because she was just like, Kanye West, he's just crazy. And I'm like, it's not that simple, I don't think, you know. And I was telling Skeens in perfect timing, there was a clip of Dave Chappelle when he was on Inside the Actor Studio, and he was talking about how often we just limit folks to crazy. And he was talking about it's got to be something more when you got Martin Lawrence in the middle of the street screaming, talking about people trying to kill me. You know what I mean? So I've always been, I don't want to overstep, but I've been kind of like a Kanye apologist in some ways. Not so much apologist, but I always try to, you know how I try to have, again, the nuanced conversation of why people do what they do. Yeah. Whether I always agree with it or not, I try to have the conversation of the why, of the how did we get here? You know what I mean? And the documentary, even wifey was sitting there, she was like, yo, a big part of this, which we already knew, but what I really love, because and Skeens and I both are, you know, mama's boys and really close with our mothers and, you know, a number of women in our lives like that. But it's that I feel like the biggest thing is that dude has lost his way when his mom passed, because you can see how much of a grounding factor she was in his life. Even from her, you know, you can see where that chick was reciting rhymes he had from a kid and remembering different things like that. And just kind of, you can see that dude was coming back to center when he was around his moms. Yeah. And I thought about other, you know, people that once they lost those mentors in their life, how they kind of went. And one of the other ones I thought about is when Mike Tyson, when Customano passed. Yep. That was the first thing I thought about, is kind of how Mike's life, without that balance of having Cuss there, that his life took a downward trend until he came back up. But really, at the end of the day, Kanye is just a creative that's trying to get his art out, whether it was clothes, whether it was designing, whether it was music, shoes. I mean, that dude even, you know, I know he's talking about he has ideas for building communities and all this other kind of stuff. I think sometimes it's a tortured existence to be that creative. And I consider myself pretty creative. Skeens is super duper, you know, creative, has all these ideas. And even on the low level, sometimes you can be overwhelmed and just consumed by how many things you have in your mind. Oh, by the way, let's add to it that you're actually bringing those things to fruition. Yeah. And a lot of times, of course, it sounds crazy before somebody is saying it. I mean, when somebody is saying it. But Kanye, they were really had he followed in the pattern of what people how they want, he would have just strictly been relatively unknown outwardly producer. They would have known him in the inner sanctum, in the circle of producers and different. But that's what they didn't care about that boy trying to talk about rapping or none of that stuff. They weren't trying to hear that. They weren't trying to hear none of that when that dude was coming up there
behind the NPC.
Right. They showed him going up to the Rockefeller, offices and playing the music. And Cap's just kind of like, oh, okay. Through the wire, they just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the illest songs to come out in the last, I don't know, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Best song ever.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, it was so many gems that he dropped in, Through the Wire or When It All Falls Down. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, what's your take on it from so far?
Well, Napoleon Bonaparte said, history is a set of lies that we agreed upon, that powerful men agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to show the correlation between that and crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy is identified as what the outsiders perceive it to be.
Right. Yep.
Because you don't share that vision.
Mm-hmm.
I think T.I. said something about the reason why you have a vision because it's your vision. Your vision is yours because it's meant for you. It was given to you to see these things, and for your viewership only.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why when we talk about we're not linear people.
Mm-hmm.
That's because we don't all share the same vision. We all have a vision that was meant for us.
Right.
As we have our own book that we're writing that's co-authored by us.
Yeah.
So when people call Kanye crazy, that documentary you got a chance to see that it wasn't the money that changed him.
Right.
It was the money that changed everyone around him.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the way how brash he is and how boastful he was about his work and his mission.
Mm-hmm.
He was that person when he was broke. When you talking about you give him $500 beats when he had roommates, when he moved to New York with nothing in his pocket.
That they showed him walking around rapping when he was a kid with a high top fade.
Exactly. That was so he's always been on his path.
Yeah.
So when no one knew who he was, because I would say money is a facelift. Well, fame is a facelift, really now.
Sure is a facelift. Yeah.
Because before he became who he was, Kanye to the world.
Yeah.
When he was just Kanye West, the producer,
mm-hmm.
all these songs that everyone went crazy over, they got a chance to hear.
Right.
They turned him down. They had beats that he turned down. The guy Kuda that was doing the recording, so he heard H to the Izzo.
That's
a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was an old beat.
Almost like 10 years ago.
That was an old
crazy.
beat.
Saying,
right.
When I heard it,
yeah.
I knew exactly who that was that produced it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So think about all these people that bypass, even Jay. And you say Jay's his big brother.
Hey, they showed that part where he had went to a party or something.
Mm-hmm.
And just to show y'all, it's crazy to look at the dynamic of Jay-Z was the man at that time. Kanye was getting some shine for producing on the Blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And they were at a party and they had people going through talking to Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And he just dapped Kanye up. They didn't talk. And he walked. That's how he looked at him like it was.
But it wasn't just him. Everyone.
Yeah. But that just showed you. And to look to where he is.
Looked at him in that same light.
Yeah.
Until you actually, until his voice was given an opportunity to be heard.
Right.
It was basically mute. His mic was mute to the world.
Yeah, indeed.
Even the people that in that inner circle that knew who he was,
right?
All the people he was doing tracks for, because he was doing tracks way before.
Yeah,
for different cats, he was telling everybody he rapped. Right. They heard it. They heard the same music. They heard the demo tracks, and they was like, whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it didn't fit the narrative as he talked about. I can't fake and act like I'm a gangster. I kill somebody.
Right, can't do it.
I'm gonna talk about real life work. Yeah. My mother is a professor. My dad did Black Panther. He also did community outreach, talk about things for Black people, and different things that we're dealing with.
Yeah,
and our problems. that he said, this is my makeup.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it needs to be heard, because I'm pretty sure there's more people outside of just myself that have these conversations, or need to have these conversations, or have these ideas, but feel suppressed to have those out loud, because the only thing that we've been marketed to, that by the masters tell us that we want to hear,
right,
is everything that's negative about us,
right. And I think,
or basically our self-destruction.
I think back to even when he was on that, I don't know, Skeen, that was about a year ago when he was doing these long form conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to cut through some of because again, I always say Kanye again, because he is a brilliant guy, and some people say, Jay, we throw that around. I don't think he's brilliant. I mean, we could argue that, but he doesn't. I don't know. In my mind, I wonder who he has to vet and bounce stuff off of first before he was getting on some of those platforms and saying what he was having to say. Right, number one. Number two, if you put ears on to kind of cut through some of the wild stuff, and especially for people of color, he's talking about having your own, and he's talking about farms, housing, all that kind of stuff.
He's had outside of the delivery,
right?
He's saying the same thing. We've had the conversation even on our show.
Absolutely.
When we talked about Black History Month, we had many episodes. We talked about we should be focusing on the future. Yeah, we had this conversation years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So he's just saying it. It may not be well received because the way that the dressing.
Skeens and I were talking this afternoon, y'all. Some of the worst delivery people in the culture are, you got Kanye, Dame, Joe Budden. But these are some brilliant, very sharp guys. We were talking about today. It's like, even talking about Dame Dash, it's like, that dude if he was the delivery man, he'd bring your pizza to the door and just throw it at the door and be like, hey man, but that joint's still, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how it is sometimes, but they're saying things that are relevant. You know what I mean?
Well, what are they called? The tortured artists?
There you go. Yeah.
You know, so they have so much going on. And we talked about it, it's almost, Goodwill Hunting.
Exactly. Yeah.
When the professor is struggling to solve a mathematical equation. Yep. And Will just grabs the chalk and goes on the board and just
it's nothing
complete it in a second and then goes on and berate the professor, who's a world-renowned professor with awards.
At freaking MIT.
Berates him and tells him how much she hates watching him fumble. Yeah, right. But then over not being able to accomplish this. But then the professor, from his perspective, talks about how tortured he is to actually see Will be able to do what he can't do, and to do it so effortless, and to squander it away. Because Will don't understand how much power and how important the work is that he has the ability to do and to basically shape and recreate so many things. Mm-hmm. So when Kanye or Dame or Joe is yelling, too often we get caught up with the yelling. Mm-hmm. If you turn the volume down, which is just us muting the volume of the outside interference.
Right.
When you fine tune it, almost like the old black and white TV, you start when you're trying to sneak cable on there, you start turning the box and you find HBO and other stuff. You start actually seeing the things that really is important to you. Right. Because Joe tells about ownership and the other side of the business that we are not privy to. Right. Dane talks about ownership. He was on Breakfast Club almost 7 years ago telling them, hey, you don't need this. Right. Yep. You don't need, y'all can start your own stuff. You're big enough to start. They need you more than you need them. Kanye, same thing.
Side of a side though, J.R. Smith. We're just talking about collective, being collective. Why are we paying to go train at UCLA? Why haven't we set up our own facility yet? Well, you know what I'm saying? I think Antoine Walker was just on there talking about it as well. You know what I'm saying? Skeens and I were talking about, you could fit whoever in our culture. But for me, two of the big, some of the big, I was about to say two of the big three, but the big three, you can say, why don't Charlemagne, Ebro from Hot 97, and Joe Budden have a network? Why wouldn't they have a network together and control pretty much all hip hop media and commentary? Why not? Why wouldn't they do that?
Well, we've been told that network ain't the right network for us.
Right.
We shouldn't be networking.
Right. Yeah. That's the lie.
So that's the thing. We shouldn't be networking.
Right.
You should be a part of the network.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll give you your piece of the network within this network.
Right.
But y'all shouldn't be networking because there's no real value.
Right.
With the network of us.
Right.
Prime example, just talked to my mommy yesterday. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my mommy. Love her. She was talking about one of the students. She said one of the on campus. One of the female that she's cool with that is a police officer, giving out tickets for like parking violations and different things. Like kids talking about they don't want they different things they didn't want to do.
Okay.
Then she was talking about like some of the kids, they have scooters on campus, like like in Austin. You get
yeah. Okay.
So it's like the kids just throw the scooters anywhere. They're throwing in the middle of the street. They're throwing them in the parking lot. So people got to drive through the parking lot at night with these scooters just everywhere.
Strong everywhere.
Yeah. Or it's like they'll leave food everywhere. Leave a full plate of food just on the curb. Then she was saying like they had now stray dogs trying to get on campus because kids just leaving food everywhere. But she said she talked to the police officer talked to one of those a couple of students like, hey, if this wasn't an HBCU, you went to a predominantly white school, would you be doing this? And you know what the girls told her?
What she said?
Probably not.
Wow. What is that mind frame, right?
Just understand that. Probably not.
Yeah.
Because their cold water is colder.
It's colder. Their sugar is sweeter.
That's what we've been taught.
Yep.
We've been told that to think of ownership is crazy. Mm-hmm. You're crazy for having that idea. You're crazy for for if you're MLK talking about freedom.
Yep.
But instead of thinking of crazy, we need to replace crazy with possibilities.
Yes, you stole my word. Let's talk about how possible it is. Want to get y'all's thoughts, man. We just want to come with some a quick hitter, but I'm gonna close out with this, man. Just talking about, they talk about the Jewish community, Asian community, stuff like that. We got a friend. I ain't gonna say names because they're going through some stuff right now. But matter of fact, friend that I just was with me helping. Mm-hmm. His son is opening up a business. So long story less long, he has a connect by way of his the dad has a connect, y'all, that helped his son to get this business. And he was talking about how what's the main thing holding everything has been greenlit, everything is going through, but there's an Asian faction in there that is like, nah, we don't want this dude to be involved in this business. But to show you how if we get together and pool our resources and you have financial influence, not to confuse the story, y'all, but basically the guy that is the connect, when he was opening his business some time ago, years ago.
No problem.
The city was giving him issues until he made a connection with this Asian guy. Like the city wasn't coming in and passing this, that, and the third. I'm brushing through the story. But once he made this relationship and this connect, they literally came in the following day and said, oh, all this stuff passes now. Just from him, his connects, and came through. So what more could we do if we were to collectively have that power and influence? But really it's finance. Once you have that financial influence like that, because now, again, Skeens and I made this episode months ago, substance over symbolism or symbolism over substance. I can't remember but we have a whole bunch of symbolic things that we do, but where is the substance in that? Well, look, I'm gonna make some people mad. Symbolically, Kamala Harris, where's the substance?
Well,
where's the substance?
Well, even not just that. We talk about symbolism, right? Let's talk about Gucci. And we would talk about we can say Gucci, and then we talk about Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan, yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, so outsiders looking in, when Gucci was stealing Dap's designs, and people of color would say, "Hey, you stealing? You should involve us," right?
Right.
So they hired Dap. Dap has a position as a consultant and stuff like that.
Yep.
The naked eye said, "Oh, we invited to the table."
Right.
Now, am I really invited to the table, or am I a prop? See, that's the thing that we look that gets lost. Sometimes we are a prop.
Yeah.
You say, "Hey, I want to be invited." Well, you just hitting that minority which you got to have a certain minimum amount of minorities.
Right.
You just hitting the quota.
Right.
So the real thing is, don't just invite me because as a brand like Gucci and other smart brands, with real common sense would say, "Hey, I don't really like y'all. Right. I don't really deal with you, but I know that you're my main source of revenue. You're the one bringing me money, and you're the reason why we are as popular as we are.
Yeah,
my popularity is because of you.
So I'm going to give you this symbolic figure.
I'm going to let you look like something, but I'm not really dealing with you, because if they really dealt with you on top of, and when Dap took that job, you know what else you got to do? You're going to also hire people of color or minority interns consistently. You got a number of interns that all the time. You're going to invest in certain African American or lower privileged communities for art schools or fashion. You're going to do these different things because we're bringing you money.
Right.
You want my money? You got to reinvest in me the same way I'm investing in you.
Boom. There you go.
So it's just that. Or when you watch the award shows, you watch Grammys.
Yeah.
What's the first question they ask you when they on the red carpet?
Oh, who are you wearing?
Who
are you wearing? Yeah.
Well, real power is, before I wear what I'm wearing, I give a call to Gucci, Fendi, or whoever. Say, "Hey, look here, I may be wearing your fit tonight on the red carpet. You want this shout out? These are my terms.
Right. Yep.
You got to donate so and so and so and so to our community. You need to donate this to my charity, or you need to hire. You may need to give these kids interns, or you're gonna cover so many scholarships. Because this is priceless marketing that I'm doing for you.
Absolutely, for free.
For free. I'm marketing
outside of the. Oh, we put you in the dress or the suit. You know what I'm saying? It's free.
I paid for the fit. Yeah. You didn't give me the fit.
No, I'm saying some of them get it, where they give it to them. But yeah,
but for them, it's still marketing that they can't pay for. Absolutely. I am a celebrity, as we talk about Kanye, from when he wasn't a celebrity to Kanye now. He wearing these crazy boots because he's
like fisherman boots.
Because of who he is. People are buying them.
Yep.
If Kanye was the Kanye he was before anybody listened to him, he wears those. What we're gonna call him?
Right.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna say, "Hey, if you want me to wear these, this is my terms," or if you don't want to come up with any money or whatever my terms are, then either A, I rock something else, or B, when a journalist come ask me what am I wearing, none of your business.
Right. There you go.
I'm not marketing for you.
There you go.
Because it's almost like when Kevin Hart got in trouble years ago when he did a movie. He promoted the movie.
Right.
But then they said, "Kevin, we need you to promote your social media."
Yep.
Kevin said, No.
That's extra, baby.
That's extra.
We got to change the terms.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So these are the terms that needs to be changed. We got to change the terms. Don't just want to look just for the look.
Yeah, let's change the terms.
The look means nothing when you still feel the same about me, and you're still gonna conduct business as normal.
Yep. Indeed. All right, Skeens start cooking. Okay, I didn't expect that.
I have more, but we try to keep this short. We try to keep this short.
So anyway, y'all, what I thought about this too, man, is going all the way back, y'all, to Kanye, where we started. One of the coolest things in the dope, I don't know where she got it from, but his mom was talking to me. They went by his mom's apartment, I believe it was, and they were talking. He was basically asking her about his delivery and how he was doing things. And he's like, "Mom, do you think my delivery's off. She said, nah, your delivery, you know, whatever way she said, but your delivery is beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. But she was like, always remember, when a giant looks in the mirror, the giant sees nothing. But when people look at a giant, everybody sees the giant. And I was like, man, that's real. That's some real perspective to have. So anyway, this has been another episode of How Did We Get Here? I'm your host, Jay Carter, and the man that always the man that will never ever be seen, Skeens.
You was right when you said always never.
Will always never be seen, Skeens. And we'll holler at y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.